Hey guys, what's happening? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. Well, if you're big into 3D stocks, today's your lucky day because that's what I'm going to be talking about. Uh, I feel like this is a group that fell out of favor and starting to show some real positive development. So, wanted to highlight it here. Um, Really, what's created this was kind of earnings and then a recent pause pullback following earnings, and this could really set up some positive action going forward. So let's jump into it. If you'd lost track of Triple D and SSYS over the past couple of years, honestly, you're probably not alone. I mean, this is the classic boom and bust chart here. Basically 2012, 2013, even the beginning of 2014. I mean, like these stocks were the hottest commodity on the street. I mean, these names just astronomical moves higher. But then 2015, the wind really came out, or the bubble popped, if you want to call it that. And I mean, raced literally all of the gains. And for the past couple of years, this is charted by SSYS, but Triple D, if I pulled it up, it would be very very similar. Um, it basically it's they're two peas in a pod. Uh, Basically, each year since they came crashing back, there's been a little flurry of buying. So for SSYS, you can see it was early 2016, and then it was kind of in the middle of 2017, and now we are getting it again here in 2018. And you're probably saying, what's different this time around? And actually, there are some differences. So um, it's worth bringing up, and part of the reason why we are interested in the trade in the first place. So um, these stocks like SSYS was the past couple of years searching for a floor technically, but also kind of important searching for a floor fundamentally. Basically, you had these it had kind of stalled out. The selling finally exhausted itself down around like 15 or so, and it's basically been working on like a long sideways support level at 20. We can see here. So it's already demonstrated a low technically. I mean, buyers have shown interest numerous times down around 20. Really, like the dips underneath it have been pretty short lived, and it tends to get back into that 20 low 20s pretty often. Uh, the bigger issue probably was the fundamentals. I mean, they were still just the businesses were still, the revenues were decelerating, earnings were, well, for a while they were negative. They were spending a lot of money, revenues were decelerating. So they were kind of looking for like a turn in the fundamental business. And and finally, this quarter there was some signs of life for both Triple D and SSYS. So you can see, like technically, like they both. So this is SSYS, but I mean, if I pulled up Triple D, you could see it, and it's basically the same looking chart. So both had decent numbers and both rallied this quarter. SSYS broke through long-term resistance at the 200-day, rallied up to 25 and paused, and just recently pulled back and built this new higher base above 2250, which is super super encouraging. You can see it was kind of a next to the 200-day, that was kind of like the area of resistance on the chart. But technically that's great, but also revenues grew for SSYS, and it was marginal. But they also said that they saw a rebound in the high end orders and their end markets improved, which is really key to their success. So, uh, part of the appeal of this trade was this nice technical move where you saw, but also that technical move was also fueled by fundamental developments. So it's kind of like a nice 1-2 combination. And after like the initial wave of you buying kind of dried up, and it pulled back, you get like this higher base forming, and And now, really, what you're going to want to watch is, as you can see, like the stock has rebounded pretty nicely, like the past few days. And if this can turn the corner and get back through 25, then that's when it can really start to get explosive because you had the initial push, pull back, held higher support, and now you get the next wave higher. And these names are still really heavily shorted. People have been sitting short these things for a while, and there really wasn't any reason to cover. But if you see this start to build momentum, build through 25, then it could really open up because like the longer back you go, like the better it looks, right? The more potential it seems to have. If you just go back to last year, you could see through 25. The next major level is 30. But if you go back even further, you can see that. Through 30, it just really, really opens up. There's really like a double top at 30, and then above that, you're looking at the 40s and even higher prices. So that's why when you have setups like this where it's stocks that are working on long-term, multi-year breakouts or major trend reversals, you need to be patient, and time is going to be your friend because there can be a lot of chop and a lot of non-event sessions that play out before it really starts to go. But for SSYS, it just seems that the potential is there. The business is improving. Technically, it's on the verge of getting that the next momentum wave. The market's always like searching out like these kind of like story stocks or like sexy sectors where people kind of pile in. And this was one a few years ago. So, if you start to see these things gain momentum, people probably have not forgotten totally like how crazy the action was in this. So, if you can see momentum build, wouldn't surprise me to see people start to really get back into these names again. And that's also why, like the fact that it's been sideways for so long, it's the longer term options probably aren't reflecting the potential of the stock here. They're probably very underpriced considering the stock has done nothing for 3.5 years. And, heavy short interest, long term consolidation. It's one of those sectors that gets a lot of retail interest. So, that's part of why the December 21st, 25 call was an interesting bet because there's, technical reasons, there's fundamental reasons, there's, kind of like that fits into that momentum group if it can get going. So they're just seeing like there was a lot of positive aspects of the trade if it can start going. And now you have like this really nice breakout, pullback, higher support, and it's at the point where if it gets a couple more dollars and gets up through 25, then it really starts to get interesting. So what I want to stress is you gotta be patient with it. It's not like flying higher yet, but there does seem to be a lot of potential. And part of the benefit of having those longer dated options is that you can kind of sit and let it develop the way it needs to. Just while having your risk defined, right? So like you know what you pay. The potential is not written in stone. Your price paid is your max loss. So you can kind of like work from that. So definitely wanted to highlight this. With people kind of like clamoring around trying to find like some stuff to play catch up. Like this kind of Triple D and SSYS have been on our radar since those August earnings. So a lot of positive developments going on here, and definitely don't sleep on these 3D names. So as always, love to hear from you guys. So please reach out. Wrapping up another week here. Before you know it, October earnings are going to start, and that's going to come up real fast. Another like week and a half. You're going to start getting into things. It was kind of like a quiet news week, but it'll start picking up next week, and it'll just kind of build through October. So plenty to look forward to. Have a fantastic night, and I will talk to you tomorrow.